So what is going on, guys? I'm Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video. Today for you, I'm going to break down and explain exactly what's going on in the Forsaken ending cutscene. Before I get straight into this, I will quickly say I haven't collected all of the intel in the game yet. The map's only just come out. We've only just gotten the Easter egg ending cutscene, so I'm guessing within that intel, there will be documents or radios that maybe explore more of what's going on. And through that, we could perhaps get even more information. But for now, just taking it face value, I'm going to give you my explanation. And of course, a lot happens before this. We've had 3 zombies maps already in Cold War. Some storyline stuff has been told through the gameplay of Forsaken. I've done videos on all of the previous maps, but let's take a look at the Cold War zombies ending. So straight off from the get-go in the cutscene, we see that Samantha Maxis sacrifices herself to essentially save the Cold War zombies universe, to stop everyone from dying, and she does this by sending herself into the dark ether. You can see she says to Weaver, "I'm not a bad person, I'm a good soul. I know what I have to do, I'm sorry, this is the only way." And she then plunges herself into the Forsaken, who has a massive gaping hole in his stomach, which is a portal to the dark ether. And in return, the Forsaken is secured in this device, which looks very similar to a character we are familiar with in the old Zombies timeline, Sophia. But from what I can tell, like I said, I haven't gone through all of the intel yet, but there was no mention of this specifically being Sophia, so it could just be that Treyarch have reused the model, or maybe there is some deeper meaning behind it. It definitely does look like her though. But yeah, the whole point of this machine, the reason why Omega built it, was to secure the Forsaken inside, and that's exactly what happens. Samantha flies into him, she gets taken into the dark ether, and in return, the Forsaken is secured. We then see, because of what Samantha did, all of the outbreak zones around the world now begin to collapse. Berlin being Mauertoten, D Machine, Firebase C, all of our outbreak zones in the Ural Mountains. All of the portals to the dark ether begin to close, meaning the zombies can no longer escape. Everything is banished back to the dark ether where it belongs, and that's it. No more zombie outbreaks. You can tell Weaver is happy. He sits back and says, "Thank you, Sam." Requiem then call in the chopper, where they take away the device that is holding the Forsaken inside of it. It is flown away, and the rest of the strike team escape from the facility. Raptor 1 takes our characters away, and Revanov stays behind in the Ukraine. We then switch to our next scene, where we see the director of Requiem looking at his monitor. We previously saw a teaser of him in the last Zombies map, Mauertoten, where back in that map on his screen it said, "Valentina is no longer an issue, Agent Klaus has completed his mission, Project Janus may now proceed unimpeded, and Maxis presents a problem that must be dealt with." That was all in our last map. However, now on the director's screen it says, "Entity acquired. All breaches sealed. Maxis is locked within the dark ether. She is no longer a problem for Project Janus. Divert strike team to Black Site 13 for indefinite containment. I will shut down Requiem. Our agents can move on, Weaver and the rest." So once again we hear of this Project Janus, however, we still don't know what it is. If you just search up the word Janus, it was an ancient Roman mythical figure. He was the god of beginnings, gates, transitions, time, duality, doorways, passages, frames and endings. So if Project Janus is named after that Roman god, surely it's got to have some relation, but the director, from what I can tell, is yet to start that. He says the entity is acquired, being the Forsaken. We saw him sealed, and then Maxis, as he mentioned, is now locked in the dark ether. And then his final 2 points, where he says divert the strike team to Black Site 13 for indefinite containment, and he would shut down Requiem so the agents, being Weaver and the rest, can move on. And we see that happen. Here, Dr. Grey is arrested, she's taken away. We also see in this scene, Carver is taken away. All members of Requiem, another one Strauss, and the strike team as well, including Weaver, who we do know from previous intel is close to the director. All of these are arrested, and they're taken to Black Site 13, where they are to be contained indefinitely. Requiem is over. The director shuts it down. This was his thing. And then finally, the big reveal happens. We witness the director looking on all of his monitors, seeing his plan play out, all of the members of Requiem being arrested. He then gets up, picks up his briefcase. On his desk, we can see teasers of him, pictures of him. We'll get back to that in just a second. But as he walks out the door, he turns around and, well, as we guessed months ago, it is Richtofen. I must have made 5 or 6 videos saying that the director of Requiem is 100% Richtofen. I was 99% sure. We had quite a few clues leading up to this point, the first one being in Mauertoten, the robot Klaus, he was programmed by the director, and we know that Klaus's accent was German, which meant the director of Requiem, he had to be German since he programmed him. Also the fact that the director knew everything about Samantha, he knew her birth date, which even she didn't know. That meant that the director had to have been close to Samantha, and the only other character that we hadn't yet met in Cold War, who we know existed in this universe, was Eddie. So it only made sense that the director of Requiem was him, plus the fact that he's very narcissistic. He has a mug that says best director ever. His personality, how he's sneaky, goes behind people's backs. We can even see in this cutscene he's betrayed his friends. Weaver was very close to him. Carver, Gray, they all worked under him, and he's had them arrested. From his personality, we could match this up to Richtofen, so we've known for quite a while that this more than likely was him, and, well, we see his face. This is Richtofen. And for those of you who are confused saying, Eli, what do you mean this is Richtofen? Well, if we go back to Black Ops 4 and Tag Toten, in that ending cutscene, which is a prequel to Cold War, it takes place before, there were only 2 characters that survived our old timeline. That was Samantha and Eddie. They walked off as children into the Cold War universe. That was back in the 60s. We are now in the 80s, so 20 years later. We've already seen Samantha, she's now an adult, she's 30, and we are now seeing Eddie, who will be the same age as her, so he should be in his 30s as well. This is Eddie Richtofen. His first name is Eddie, his last name's Richtofen. So yes, technically, this is Richtofen, and the last time we saw him was as a child in Black Ops 4. This isn't the evil Ultimus version we had. This isn't the Primus version. We've had many other versions of Richtofen. This is Eddie Richtofen. Richtofen, of course, is his surname. That does then bring up loads of other questions. One, if he was friends with Samantha as a child, why has he been torturing her? Why was he happy to let her plunge herself into the dark ether? That we don't have answers to, unless it's in the intel. 2, like I said, what is Project Janus? What is Richtofen's end goal? All of this we don't know. And just going back a little bit here, where we see pictures of Eddie on his desk, the one on the left there is a little bit blurred, but I can't tell what he's doing. Is he holding a gun or something? I don't know. And then the one on the right looks to be Eddie kissing a woman, so does he have a wife or a girlfriend? I hope that's not Samantha, that'd be a little bit weird. But anyway, we go back to Eddie where he's walking out of the building, he closes the door, and that's it. But is it? Because on the screen, we are then told 5 years later in Japan, we have a hooded figure who walks into this fisherman's shop. He asks to rent a boat. The fisherman asks him, where do you want to go? And he points to here, and it's revealed that this character is Peck. So he managed to survive the incident in DLC 4. Where exactly he's pointing to is somewhere near Japan. I'm not too sure if there's a small island there or if he's pointing to the middle of the ocean. But Peck, for some reason, 5 years after the Forsaken ending, wants to go here. Now, we do know if we go back to the Outbreak ending, as a part of that, Requiem sent the inversion warheads into the ocean. I'm not too sure specifically exactly where those missiles were sent, but could they have been here? Could that have something to do with Peck wanting to go to this location? Maybe there's another reason. We don't know what his plan is, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see for quite a long time now, because it says the story will continue. Now, we know Vanguard Zombies is being developed by Treyarch, which does mean actually a month away from now, Treyarch Zombies is going to be returning. However, Vanguard Zombies is going to be a prequel to Black Ops Cold War. It will take place in the 1940s, whereas Cold War takes place in the 80s. So if they're telling us the story will continue and this whole incident with Peck takes place 5 years after the Forsaken ending, does that mean then that in Vanguard we're going back to the 40s? So that'll be a prequel, but in Treyarch's next proper game, which won't be until 2023 now. Next year in 2022 will be Infinity Ward, so the year after that should be Treyarch in 2023. That may well be when the Cold War Zombies story continues off from here. But it will technically be continuing in Vanguard as a prequel. We'll learn what happened before Cold War, before what we've seen in this game. And that will be very interesting because a load of stuff what's happened here, the reveal of Richtofen, he won't exist in Vanguard. He didn't enter the Cold War universe until the 60s, so if that game takes place in the 40s, we've only just met Richtofen and he's going away again. We're not going to see him for maybe 2 years now. But yeah, there we go. Samantha is in the Dark Ether, the Forsaken has been contained, and another thing I will say is, when Peck points to this map, we saw the Forsaken being taken away on a helicopter, but we don't know where he was taken to. Could it be that this container he was sealed in was plunged into the ocean? And could that be where Peck's going? We don't know. But Richtofen's off to carry on with Project Janus. The strike team and Weaver and everyone else has all been arrested. Peck is still alive. And as for Kravchenko then, well, we don't get an answer. He could be dead, or, like Peck, he may still be alive. So, there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like rating. I'd be really interested to see your theories in the comment section below. Make sure you are subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.